Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So I'm live on TikTok and YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, all at the same time. I'm trying to do something where let's see where my squirrel brain takes this because it's a lot. It's a lot for me. It's a lot for me. So I'm going to do an energy update for those who are on TikTok. The title is Blu-ray Update Ascension is speeding up. For those here on my screen, let me put it on the screen. So there's a lot of things that have been occurring, and these things are, things. And there's been a lot of shifting of energy. Okay. A lot of shifting of energy, a lot of speeding up of certain processes. And as these processes speed up, what ends up happening is our perception of time, our perception of space, all of that, it gets a little bit wonky. Okay. So a lot of the things that I've personally been experiencing are changes in my sleeping patterns, a lot of like anxiety building up. I don't know if you guys are feeling that, but there's a lot of anxiety building up. There's a lot of just, I don't know, it feels nonsensical to me, but a lot of things feel nonsensical to me if it's not efficient. It's that cap moon, okay? It's that cap moon, So, it's just one of those things. Thank you, your girl Blue. I appreciate that. you know, it takes a whole nother level of assholishness to be like, do you have Down syndrome type 5? Let's face it. Let's face it. You find me attractive. It's okay. It'll be okay. You don't have to be insulting just because you're aware that I would never give you attention. This is your little bit of attention that I'll give you. But, it's all good. I'm not offended. I would need to care about you and your opinions to get offended. Word to the wise, you probably don't know me. I have a cap moon. I don't give a fuck. Because I don't. Okay. So anyways, oh my gosh, your dreams have been jacked up. Your sleep has been jacked up. I'm noticing like this pattern of waking up every like 30, 40 minutes. Okay, love you, girl. Sorry, just had to ask. I mean, but seriously though, do you ask someone that kind of question? I have Asperger's. I score on the autism spectrum, and even I know that that's like such an inappropriate question. Do you see me asking about your like, I don't know, vaginal secretions? I'm saying, I'm saying like learn manners. Learn manners. All right. So, sorry guys to address people on TikTok. All right. So here goes. There's a lot of energy. Energy is accreting again right now. And a lot of the things that you'll witness happening are things that have to do with how you will be taking in energy, right? How you will interpret that energy and how it will affect you if you allow it to become something negative, right? So just kind of keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind. Ooh. So with the ascension speeding up, a lot of the things that are going on, it has to do with the masculine energy and creating balance within that masculine energy. All of us have both masculine and feminine, and what you do with that will very much and very greatly determine exactly how you will experience this. So we exist in a matrix where the fallen patriarchy is they've existed in such a way that's been super toxic to the collective whole. And now is a time where that toxicity is being corrected. Um, hmm. I think the way you reclaim your power, because the witch's hat power card came up, is through making sure that you're as present as you possibly can be with the lessons that are coming forward. A lot of the lessons that are coming forward have to do with the way you perceive, because your perception is what creates the reality that you experience. So, just like here on TikTok, this person is like, it's a trend. Didn't mean to offend you. Well, I'm trying to make it a trend to like not be okay with poor treatment. You know what I mean? Let's make that a trend. Let's make it a trend to have the courage to speak up, speak your truth, speak your needs, all of those things. Let's make that a trend too. And again, I'm not offended. I'm just mouthy, is what it is. I'm mouthy, you know. I talk back. Talk to me. I talk back because I do. I do, far too long it's been normalized to, hurt each other's feelings. And I'm trying to normalize being a badass in your own space. You know what I mean? Like not having no fear of like, you want to talk to me? We'll talk. We'll talk. It's all good. But here's the thing with this fallen patriarchy and the power card, this is about finding your power in returning back to that feminine aspect of yourself. A lot of people, kind of have this erroneous belief, or maybe it's not erroneous, might not be the right word. They have this uncentered belief or non-centered belief that you have to be consistently combative, right? I mean, I'm capable of being combative, but I'm also capable of reverting back to my natural feminine state of softness, of grace. I don't have to stay in that rough, combative, masculine energy. So it's like you're being tasked to decide, are you needing to exist in the masculine or the feminine energies that are within you? Because if you allow yourself to really, really, really know how to engage with other people's energies, you can flow through that very easily. Part of the ascension speeding up is really forcing you into a space of knowing, of feeling, of being able to discern certain things. Like, what is the appropriate response for you, right? What is the thing that you need to do? And that's very important for you to begin really learning how to do that, how to decide what you will do, how you will be, all of those things, right? So, manifestation, whatever you create for yourself is what will be. If you allow your thoughts um, to get displaced in the distorted emotions, then you'll find everything offensive, right? So, using me as an example, that comment is coming in at the tail end of me processing the response that I had to the way I used the filter a few minutes ago. I posted a video on my TikTok, and the filter, like, it affected me. It affected me because so there's this filter on TikTok where, it's a split screen and you get to see how you used to look when you were a teen. That didn't work on me. It did not look like me at all when I was a teen. I was just like, whose kid is this? This is not. I don't know who this is. It ain't me. And then tonight, that was a while ago. Oh, thank you, Dog 420. Tonight I did a different filter because this girl was talking about her eyebrows. She looked really good, by the way. She was talking about her eyebrows, and I was just like, well, what is up with this filter? And I put it on myself, and if you look for my recent video about brown-eyed girls, that's how I looked as a teen. And that really, like, damn, my perception of the way I've cared for myself or haven't cared for myself really just got me in the chest. And because I was still in the process of restabilizing myself, with this ascension speeding up, it's a lot easier to become destabilized. And in the process of me restabilizing myself, I was like, okay, I need to do this reading. I'll do it on both on my laptop and on TikTok on my phone. And then that comment popped up, which sure, it's a trend, but hey, I bite back, right? When I enter into a space where I feel even slightly destabilized within myself, my go-to reaction, my go-to behavior is I bite back. You want to nibble? I will bite you the fuck up. So that's what that was. But then it's like this thing of, okay, girl, was that necessary? Did you pause? Did you take the time to assess what type of reaction, what type of response, what type of whatever it is appropriate? No, I didn't. It was just like, I'm not very familiar with TikTok. It's a very different thing for me. I don't know the trends. I kind of just exist in my own lane. I'm not really one to follow trends, anyways. So I give myself the grace to just move forward from that instead of like my usual, oh my God, I feel so bad. Oh, I was such a dick. No. It is what it is. I behave the way I behaved. I take accountability for that, and I got to carry forward. If you allow yourself to enter into these spaces where you're attacking yourself during such pronounced, such an accelerated ascension cycle, you're going to get real messed up in the head. Your emotions are going to be so just like, ugh, oh my God. Right. So, right. Dog 420 says people are just really rude on here. Don't know why. And I've noticed that too. I mean, I think um, I've been spared a lot of that rudeness and all of that. But like I said, don't get this twisted. The Asianness really gets people twisted because they start thinking I'm going to be docile. I'm so far from docile if I don't want to be, right? And that's okay. I am who I am. What ascension processes do, they actually encourage you, empower you to step more further into that space of authenticity. I'm not talking about manufactured authenticity that you see on social media where people are just faking the fuck out of themselves and trying to sell that. I'm talking about real authenticity. And I know TikTok don't know me very well, but yeah, no, I am who I am. I'm at the age where I'm at, and I'm good off trying to play roles for people, trying to appease people and all of that. I'm good off that. You know what I mean? Is this energy affecting the thymus? Yes. It's affecting the thymus as well as multiple regions in the brain. Frontal lobe is very much affected, and it has to do with your executive function. It has to do with your personality and all of that, like your reasoning, personality, all of that. So it's affecting that. It's affecting the retroruberal fields, which that part is responsible for the detection of true threats, true potential harm. So for many of us, we're not really fully here in ourself. You know what I mean? It's really been this thing of almost like you're on autopilot as this ascension process speeds up even more. And that's okay. That's okay. Um, you just have to really make sure that you set the intention of being as present as you possibly can. You'll have fluctuations, you'll have these um, instances where you go into autopilot and you revert back to, your typical coping mechanisms, typical behavioral patterns. And then when you become aware, you got to remind yourself to also go back to the space that you've grown into. So that's really important. You're not being held to a standard of perfection. That's not fair. That's not realistic. That's not sustainable. But you do have to hold yourself accountable. It's not a free for all. Once you realize you're entering into a free for all, you got to like reel that back in and be like, ho, no, behave, right? So, shadow and cycle. See, we're entering into a cycle of shadow work, right? The shadow work that we're entering into is going deeper into that space within yourself where the most powerful parts of you are being hidden away. Is so important during this process that you are as present within yourself as possible. Old traumas are going to be pushed forward. They're going to be pushed to the surface. And, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to trigger you. They're meant to trigger you, right? Whether the individual was trying to or planning to trigger you, that's kind of like irrelevant, right? Can I want to see if I can forward this to my friend. Hold on really quick. Oh my gosh, there. I'm gonna send it to her. So you got to make sure that you are as present as possible. For a lot of people, old traumas, possibly exes. It's almost like Mercury retrogrades all up in this, right? It's like Mercury had one too many drinks, ended up at the embassy with a pretty little thing from Memphis, Tennessee. It's like this thing of old stuff is being pushed forward, not because you didn't learn, but because it's time to clear it out, right? It's really, really time to clear much of that out. And you won't be able to clear it out if you don't allow yourself to experience, like, really look it in the eyes. For many of us, we don't want to look our trauma in the eyes. I'm over here like, look at me. Look at me. That's how I treat my trauma. Like, I want to know what part of that experience traumatized me. Why did it traumatize me? What is the root of that trauma? And what is the soil made of? Because soil is nothing but decomposed matter, right? It's decomposed matter. And that's where the roots uptake the nutrition, all of the things that the plant needs. So if you apply this to your spiritual journey, the soil is the parts of you that have rotted away, the parts of you that you have partitioned and ignored for so long that it decomposed. That is the soil that you are rooted in. It's a very rich soil if you allow it to be. If you allow it to be. So you have to allow that richness to permeate through, and you have to be able to apply what you've learned because of what you've experienced. For many of us, we don't realize, we think that, oh, we experienced it, it's done, let's like forget about it. No, you have to unpack that. You have to unpack it. Okay. Initiation. You're being initiated into a space of expanded awareness. Excuse me. Ooh. I recently experienced a face off with trauma that was pretty amazing. Yeah. I have been feeling numb lately and figured my frequency is changing, and during the change I'm numb. So when you go through shifts in frequency, you will be much more vulnerable. That's a space of vulnerability. It's not a space of weakness. Weakness does not equate vulnerability. Vulnerability does not equate weakness. So when you're in a space of elevations of vulnerability, your higher self will go ahead and create a buffer zone. It will help you to more readily integrate the things that you're needing to integrate, but that requires you to not feel from your environment as much. So you're kind of on an autopilot. When the frequency goes much higher than what you're accustomed to, then what will happen is autopilot. When you're on autopilot, you're kind of just ensuring that the other things that are happening after you reach that level of frequency, the other things that are happening are not going to distort what you're in the process of integrating. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So there's an initiation taking place. Your soul started something and you are not imagining this process. You're not imagining it at all. Okay. What's happening is this agitation that's not going to allow you to accept disrespect from anyone at this point, which you shouldn't. You absolutely should not accept disrespect from people. Like, no. Why should you have to accept disrespect? Now, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in the face of someone who's disrespectful is to just shut it down, meaning no response, no access. You're blocked, you're out, whatever, right? Other times, you just gotta let a motherfucker know. This is me wishing a motherfucker would. No, I'm just joking. I don't wish stuff like that. But that's the thing, though. You shouldn't have to tolerate people. I mean, yeah, people are free to be who they are, just like you are free to have the standards that you have. And then you allow yourself to carry forward. Don't keep staying in a space that has no respect for you. There's no point in that. How is that going to grow you? You know, spiritual people try and convince you that you need to accept all sorts of, improper treatment, all sorts of substandard treatment. That's not true. There is nothing in the laws of spirituality that state that you have to be someone's whipping boy and whipping girl. You don't have to. You choose to allow yourself to believe that that is the only way you will be a good person. No, you are not being a good person by martyring yourself. Martyrdom is emotional manipulation. You are manipulating someone to have the perception of you that you want them to have. Thank you. And you don't have to do that. I used to martyr myself quite a bit until I realized that's not growing me. That's not helping me. That's not helping the other person. All I'm doing is perpetuating the very cycles that make both of us feel unbalanced and unhappy in the interactions that we have with each other. You can only sustain that for so long before you begin to become very, very bitter, right? I would rather be an authentic person where you know where you stand with me than to be a fake person and bitter on top of being fake. Like, no, I don't want to be that. I want to be who I am. I'm at a point where the only acceptable thing I can do is be me. And while we go through this ascension speed up, you're going to have the opportunity to decide, are you ready to take the mask off and stop playing the characters that other people are trying to encourage you or demand you play, right? It's up to you. It's really up to you, but boundaries. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves that boundaries are the cutoff line where you're going to have to cut yourself off from the source of toxicity, the person, the circumstance, whatever it is that continues to feed your toxicity. You have to. It's a hard thing to do. It's very, very difficult to walk away from the circumstance that has become your home for so long. For many of us, We're afraid to heal because of the fact that we now and have been identifying as the wound. I once had someone ask me, like, I mean, who doesn't want to heal? Why would someone not want to accept help to heal? Easy. If they identify as the wound for too long, me helping to heal the wound is erasing their identity. When the wound no longer exists, they no longer exist. So hell yeah, they're going to fight me about that, you know? But here's the most powerful part that I learned. Is it loving of me to try and force someone into a process that they are not willing or ready to enter into? I've had to learn how to love in a healthy way, and a healthy form of love is allowing someone to decide what process they are willing and ready to enter into and what process needs to be held off. Oh my God, Amy, are you just going to let people suffer? No. I'm going to let them decide how they want to experience this cycle of learning and growth, is what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. That's all. I cannot take it upon myself, and you cannot take it upon yourself to save someone who is in your space, serving as a reflection of the parts of you that need your saving. I had to learn that the hard way. That the people I want to save the most are actually reflections of the part of me that has begged me for years to tend to that wound. Have you ever considered that? That the people who stand in front of you, the people who get your attention, the people who you just resonate with so deeply because, gosh, their pain feels so familiar, they are the reflections of the parts of you that need you to save it. How do you save your parts? You bring it home. You bring it home. You take it home into yourself and you address whatever needs to be addressed. And you allow yourself to fall in love with yourself where you are. You allow yourself to not just grip on to whatever parts of you find. No, that is not enough. That is not love. That is obligation. Love is when you embrace it, when you cherish it. That's love. Ascension is a process of learning how to love yourself. Love yourself to the degree that you can actually allow yourself to be yourself, where you are no longer rejecting parts of you. Not only are you accepting who you are, you're also embracing it. That's powerful. That is so ridiculously powerful that it becomes this thing of, it is the Stargate you use to find your way home. It becomes this Stargate that transports you back to your center. You don't even have to walk. You don't have to travel over long distances. You are immediately transported back to your space of center. You are immediately deposited lovingly, gently into your innermost sanctum of your innermost sanctuary. That's powerful. You have that kind of authority over yourself in your journey. You do. I mean, just look at how this live stream has gone, right? Demon Horita behavior, trying, and I'm not talking about a specific person. I'm talking about the energy of the behaviors that are perpetuated, encouraged, trending on social media platforms. It's this thing of like, there was a demon Horita attempt to cause me to become imbalanced. No, I don't give a shit what someone else says. To have that come forward during a moment where I felt destabilized because of the fact that a filter that I used on myself moments earlier brought me back to a space of seeing my face from when I was a teen. I didn't look like a teen. But that really shook my brain, shook my emotions, made me feel for a moment that I was upside down in myself. I allow myself to feel what I need to feel, but no one, and I promise you, no one will dictate to me how my process goes, will somehow use their behaviors and their lack of knowledge of the process that I'm in to fuck up my process. I don't think so. See, when you really truly fall in love with yourself in that journey of self love, no one can dictate to you who you are. No one can dictate to you what behaviors to accept. You'll go through these cycles over and over and over, cycling through these different connections, environments, circumstance, potentials. It is up to you to retrieve the parts of you that you left behind the first time you went through that cycle. Sometimes that's why these cycles circle back around. They're trying to give back to you the parts of you you left there in your rush to leave so you could survive. Are you simply here to survive? Or are you here in a space being asked to choose the moment you will begin to thrive? I'm thinking you're probably at the cusp of choosing thriving. I would choose thriving because survival sucks. You're constantly in a state of who do you have to fight next? I'm done fighting. I am. I'm done fighting, but no, you're not going to come in my space and be very nonchalant with the sovereignty that I am. You're just not. I'm not going to allow it because I've entered into a realization, acceptance, and embrace of the fact that I am literally a fucking goddess in the flesh. You're not going to disrespect me. I don't care if it's a joke. I can do jokes. I have a fabulous sense of humor. I'm just saying. But if I find something disrespectful about what you said, knowing who I am, knowing how I am, then that was disrespectful. And it's not going to be debated. That is part of the ascension mechanics where you are learning the standards with which you are willing to experience this life. People think the whole ascension thing is all about like reaching a frequency. Okay, what do you do when you're at that frequency? What are you supposed to do there? Wear it as a badge of honor. You've reached the 5th floor. Honey, I don't live on the 5th floor. I live on the penthouse. So reaching the 5th floor does not mean anything to me. I want to go home. Where do you live? Do you live in a space that someone else told you to exist in? I've had plenty of people in my life, especially over the past couple of years, but really it's extended through my entire life. People who have been uncomfortable with the fact that they recognize a greatness in me that I don't recognize within myself. Now, I don't give a shit. Wherever my soul tells me I need to be, that is where I will be. You got a problem with that? Sounds like a you problem. I'm stepping on your toes. Well, that's funny because I stay in my own lane. I stay in my own lane. So if I'm stepping on your toes, that means your punk ass has placed your feet in my lane to trip me. That's what you get. That's what you get. And people will be like, oh, you're so cold. Cap Moon, deal with it. Cap Venus, deal with it. But I thought you were Pisces. I am. I'm that too. I'm saying I'm that too. I can be very soft and, I'm a whole being. I asked my husband this earlier today. Sometimes I like to harass him in the car. and just ask him like random ass questions. You love me? How much? And so he knows I'm joking though. But today, what I asked him was, why do you love me? What do you love about me? And this guy starts going over his list. Like he had answers immediately. He goes, oh, well, damn, that's not fun. That's hot, but that's not fun. He did not hesitate. He knew exactly what he loved about me. He loves that I can be hard AF, but I can also be so soft and so loving. Like he loves that I'm a totality. So be that. All of these traumas that are coming forward, all of these opportunities for old cycles to reach you again, to access you, to re-trigger, to rip off the band-aid. Hey, you know what? When you start growing gangrene, you need to take the band-aid off, right? Just because you left the battlefield doesn't mean you heal the wounds. If you didn't attend to the wounds after the battle was done, you're probably going to get that infected. And putting pretty bandages, sitting in a gilded cage, is not going to address the wounds that have been allowed to fester long after the battle concluded. So that's where we're at. This recognition that the battle is done, but we never actually address the wounds that were inflicted during that conflict, during the period that we had to go into this space of survival. You survived. What's next? Nothing if you don't heal. Nothing is next if you don't heal. You will continue to exist in a space of pain, a pain that's unnecessary. That's suffering. Struggle, sometimes, yes, that's a part of the learning. The suffering, that's optional. Suffering is always optional. When you hold on for too long, when you choose not to let go, that creates suffering. I don't know if you guys remember my folks on YouTube and Facebook. Remember how the other day, oh no, it wasn't the other day. It was a freaking private session. Well, I won't say who the private session was with, but I hope the person that I had the session with doesn't mind me sharing my words. I was telling someone that they didn't need to let go of a specific person. That person is in their life through a Paladorian contract because they knew my client would never let go. What needed to happen was not a letting go, but instead a shifting in the way you hold, right? I think it was earlier today in the live stream on YouTube where I was talking about, when you begin to fatigue your grip and you're heavy lifting, you're going to need to shift the way you hold. You can do a mixed grip, underhand, overhand, whatever it is. But in the shifting of the way you hold, you have the potential to be able to squeeze out more reps. And as you squeeze out more reps, just by shifting that, you increase a potentiality of muscle failure, muscle fatigue, which then increases the potentiality of growth, hypertrophy. So, what do you need to do? Shift the way you hold yourself. Don't let yourself go. Shift the way you hold yourself. When you hold on too tight, you will fatigue. You'll eventually lose your grip. But when you allow yourself to recognize what creation is placing within your hands, that takes no effort, just cooperation. You have to cooperate by allowing your hand to be emptied of the thing that no longer serves you. So walk your truth, but it's in reverse. Don't be a lying ass hoe. I'm saying don't lie to yourself about who you are. Like, I understand that I could be the sweetest person, but I also have this like highly developed skill set of assholery. I could be an absolute asshole if I feel inclined. You got to do a lot to get me there. But baby, once I'm there, I will not disappoint. I will be an asshole to a whole nother caliber. I'm not even ashamed anymore. I used to be ashamed. I used to be embarrassed. Like, why am I like this? Well, because you did something consistently to bring this out of me. Boom. There it is. Society will shame you for the very skills you had to develop to protect yourself. It will shame you and guilt you and try and subjugate you because you know how to protect yourself through words, through actions, whatever it is, through avoidance, whatever it is. No, you have permission from your soul to be who you are. You don't need permission from anyone else. If you're waiting for the very people who don't want you to succeed to give you permission to succeed, boo boo, Habibi, please stop it. They're not going to give you permission. They never will. They never will. But the beautiful thing about this, you didn't need their permission. You never did. I tell you guys this often. I tell my YouTube people often. God co-signs your existence and your attitude. Fuck everyone else. If they got a problem with what God co-signed, they need to take it up with God. Say a little prayer, get on your knees, talk to God. I'm saying that's not something you need to talk to me about. You need to talk to God about that. I'm just saying that's the reality of it. Like for me, that's legit the reality of it. You do things to bring out the toxicity in me. You invite my toxicity to play with yours. My toxicity is competitive. I probably will out toxic you. I didn't invite that out. You repeatedly invited that to come out. I'm a very patient person too. Very, very patient. So if it comes out, you worked hard. You earned that. Enjoy it. Eat it up. Eat it up. Eat it up. Okay. You hungry ass, thirsty mofo. Eat it up. But, at the same time, you have to be careful about that type of logic because there are smart people in this world. I understand I'm not the only one with some type of ability to intellectually flex, right? There are smart people in this world and they will see this patterning and they will manipulate you through the witnessing and awareness of your patterns, right? When I recognize that someone is trying to utilize something they've witnessed from me in the past as a way to predict my behavior in the present, this is not going to work. I am living chaos. Deal with it. When you think I'm going to be genteel, it probably will be aggressive. When you assume I will respond with aggression, I'm probably going to be very quiet and still. You just never know. I don't even know. I don't know until I'm in that moment. And my intuition is guiding me, telling me how far to take things, or if I should simply evade. You know everything you need to know. You know who's safe for you. You know who isn't. Stop trying to gaslight yourself into believing you're full of shit. You did not imagine it. You did not imagine it. You are not a bad person for listening to what your soul is telling you about whether or not you should avoid someone. Me not listening to that guidance is always the way the demon whores get in my space. I'm telling you, I'm good off that. I'm good off that. You know what STDs are? Spiritually transmitted discord, disharmony, dis-ease. I'm good off that. I'm good off that. Right? Now I listen to myself as part of my ascension mechanics. I'm currently in a cycle of learning to more deeply submit to the will of soul. to more readily accept the messages that soul gives me. And I'd say it's been working pretty well. There's been a lot of alignment that's been occurring. That alignment is not, it comes at a cost, right? And the cost of that alignment is having to face more of my triggers and my traumas, having to face more of it. Just because, there are quite a few things that I still have not yet sifted through. Your future is constructed from the debris of the wreckage of your heart. All that heartbreak that you've had in the past. It was not to break you down. It was 2 reasons. The first reason is to break you open and allow more of your light to be felt by the world. The second reason is that it was a deconstruction, planned deconstruction, in order to harvest the parts of you that would be used to construct the next part of your life. A lot of this process does hurt. It does. A lot of this process will force you to see parts of your life and your journey that, you're going to feel some way about. It's okay. You're allowed to feel that. Some of you might get upset. It's okay. I mean, when you've gone through some ugly things, yeah, that's the natural reaction, is to be upset. But you don't stay there. That's how you end up messing up your process. When you stay in a place that you were only meant to visit, you end up moving in there. No. Keep going. Allow yourself to feel and then keep going, right? So, you haven't been letting yourself shine. You got to let yourself shine. Dulling your shine is not going to make cave dwellers more comfortable. They like the darkness. They can go deeper in the cave, leave you alone as you're exiting it. That's not unreasonable. Okay? Time out. Be still. So for some of you, a lot of the things that I am talking about right now are things that's probably starting to cause you to be like, "Oh my God." Okay, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. You're just in the process of recognizing where you are, what you've been through. Take a deep breath. Breathe it out. Don't forget to exhale. Just breathe. Inhale the light of your truth. Exhale the darkness of your doubt. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in your ability to heal. You don't believe in your ability to transcend, to transmute, to overcome. Do y'all want to hear this? You want to hear this? Do you want me to tell you a life hack? Your life doesn't care if you believe. You believing does not make you that which you believe. You already are, you always have been. You have always been the version of you that you needed to succeed. You just didn't believe it. So you didn't tap into it. You didn't allow it to come forward. You didn't this, you didn't that. You can choose differently. You can change your mind in the middle of a sentence. You can completely change your mind in the middle of a sentence. You don't need to believe in the greatness that you are. You already are that. Your entire life will be spent learning more deeply with each circumstance, each experience, each connection that fails or is initiated. You will learn much more deeply with each of those things exactly how profound your greatness is. There's no rush to it either. There's absolutely no rush. You've been allotted your entire lifetime to learn this. So start learning it. Start learning it, you know? Just start letting it come through. Start letting yourself witness what you need to witness about yourself. I have no idea of the gravity of me in regards to how people experience me. I don't understand it. I don't need to understand it. I don't know how or why my opinion, everything I say is just rooted in my opinion. How that could affect someone's life profoundly and positively. I don't need to understand. I need to respect people's choices to be affected so beneficially by something that comes from my opinion. I need to respect that decision. One of my BFFs once told me that I don't have the right or the authority to dictate to others how to receive me and whether or not they can love me. That is their choice. And I have to remind myself that frequently. Frequently. I'm saying I have to. I'm a regular human being and I have to remind myself as much as I need to remain in a space of gracious growth where I allow myself to grow with tremendous levels of grace for self. I can exert so much grace for other people, but for the self, I mean, that's so difficult. That is so challenging for me. Just, I can't even emphasize that enough. But the fact that it's challenging to me, I choose to see that as evidence that I need to do it more. So it's not so foreign. So I don't struggle with it as much as I do. That means I haven't given myself enough grace. And, I don't need to attack myself for not giving myself enough grace thus far. I have to recognize that I'm going through these things that I go through in order to recognize, accept, understand, and implement solutions for the very thing that I'm going through. See, you don't know better until you go through what you go through to understand better. Like the best example of this is parents. You've been through what you've been through, you've learned so much, you have this wisdom, and you try so hard to exert so much control over your children because you don't want them to struggle the way you did, because you know better than them, because you went through that, so you know better. Well, newsflash, you didn't know better until you went through it. Are you trying to raise a leader or a follower? Because if you want to raise a follower, keep doing that. And all you're doing is teaching them to follow whoever can be the most aggressive, the most convincing in their attempts to indoctrinate. So I'm not raising followers. I have birthed and am guiding future leaders. So, in my perception, I'm not going to tell you what to do unless clearly you're going to be harmed. I'm going to ask you to think about what you're doing, the different options that are presented, why you're doing it. I'm going to ask you if I can, share some of my opinion and my perception, what I think might be a good thing for you to consider. But at the end of the day, I know I am not to impede or subjugate my children. I am not to interfere with their learning. And that's that. You are raising yourself. You are taking over where your parents left off. You can't use your parents as an excuse for the rest of your life. If you're old enough to choose to be on social media and watch me, you're old enough to take accountability for yourself. I don't care what your age is. You're old enough. You're mature enough. So do it. Love yourself in a way that you needed, a way that causes you to feel empowered, that causes you to feel protected. It's okay for you to stand up for yourself. It's okay for you to get mad. It really is okay. And the people who don't want you mad, who don't want you to share what they've done to you, because, oh, you're making me look bad. No, you made yourself look bad when you chose to be harmful to me. If you wanted me to tell a better, more lovely story about you, then you should have acted better and more lovely towards me. That's my logic now. It's only fair for you to hold yourself to the same standards that you hold other people to. So if you can forgive everyone and overlook everyone's insecurities, everyone's poor behavior, then you're going to need to be able to do that for yourself too. You're going to need to. It's important. You're going to need to. You need to. Yeah. No, I'm telling you, you need to. Right? So it goes the other way as well. If you are someone who, you love to call everyone out, you love to point out everyone's mistakes, and then you can't stand when someone points out your mistakes, that's just too fucking bad, isn't it? That's just too bad. You're going to have to hear it. You're going to have to hear it so that you understand the gravity of your behavior and how you make other people feel. You constantly calling people out like that. That's just too bad. There's nothing that I'm willing to do to other people that I will not allow myself to experience for myself. If I'm going to give you attitude and you give me attitude back, you know what? I started that. I'm sorry. I didn't like the way you spoke to me, and I realized that it's in response to the way I spoke to you. I'm sorry. I'm just having a bad day. I didn't mean to take it out on you. I was frustrated, and I take responsibility for that poor decision. You weren't part of what I was frustrated over, holding yourself accountable. But if you don't hold other people accountable for the ways in which they've made you feel, your ascension mechanics will slow down, but the speed will continue to increase. So that's like if you drive stick shift, that's like popping in the clutch and continuing to press on the gas while the vehicle is out of gear, right? So now it's starting to redline, and the RPM, revolutions per minute, is going way high. The engine's getting real loud, and then you suddenly choose to pop the clutch and ram it into a gear that it doesn't belong in because of the RPMs. Now you're grinding everything. You're grinding your own gears. You're grinding your own gears. And then you wonder why you don't continue with forward trajectory, why you can't back up. You fucked up your spiritual transmission. That's what you did. So, is it going to help your transmission if you sit there for 5 months speaking poorly to yourself, blaming yourself, attacking yourself? No, transmission still needs to be fixed. What would fix it is if you go get it fixed. So go get it fixed, right? Free spirit, you are free to travel through all of your lessons in the way you choose to. That's the key there. The way you choose to. If you choose to make it a lesson of learning how to love yourself by being exposed to the very people who take your vulnerabilities and use them against you, exposed to the very people who will exploit the goodness that you are, who have no problem continuing to take, you'll learn how to love yourself, but first you'll be hurt real bad in the process. However, if you choose to learn how to love yourself by removing yourself from a toxic environment and addressing the wounds that were inflicted in that environment, and then checking where your roots are, how your soil is. I mean, I think it will still hurt that someone you loved hurt you, disappointed you, um, but you won't feel eviscerated. It won't be this, well, I like to think that it wouldn't be this visceral pain. Disappointment comes from a misalignment between your expectations and the reality of the situation. That's where disappointment is rooted in. It's a misalignment. When your expectation does not fit the reality of what is transpiring, you will be disappointed. If you allow yourself to be very realistic about the situation that you're in, then yes, you will probably still feel some kind of way, which that's why you're human. Souls enter into human existences to be able to feel things at the density of a human level, a human consciousness, a human perception. So, no, it's not about you messed up. It's about your soul is giving you the opportunity to feel something deeply. So, feel it. There's nothing wrong with feeling, there's nothing wrong with pain. There is something wrong with ignoring what it is you need and what process you're in. This ascension cycle that's speeding up is not going to let you make excuses for yourself or for other people. I think if you can hold the people that need to be held accountable, I think if you hold those people accountable, um, I think you'll get through this unscathed. There's going to be shifts. Everyone's life is going to change. The trajectory of your growth has been adjusted. You're not going to land where you expected because that's no longer your destined path. Everything has been adjusted. How many of you have been experiencing odd head pressure, frontal lobe, parietal temporal lobe, bringing in the ears, pressure in the low throat, high heart area, thymus, in the chest, feeling as though you've been partially astral, you're on autopilot, feeling like life is getting a little too intense, a little too quickly, with a lot of like, what the hell is going on? A lot of like the returning of people who, you know, I'm just saying, I don't even, I mean, some people do need to come back. Michael's like, be mindful, calm down. Be mindful. I am mindful, kind of. Kind of. Um, yeah, that's part of the ascension mechanics. Recalibration is taking place. This scalar wave repatterning it's shifting the trajectory of your path. Um, you're being elevated. The cost of your new life is at the price of your old one. Whoever and whatever is in your life right now, if it does not have the capacity or the willingness to elevate with you, they're not going to be allowed to follow you to the next part of your journey. That's just that. I mean, that's just that. And I know for some, it is a painful reality that's being faced. That pain is rooted in a recognition of the misalignment between the reality of the situation, the potentiality, and the expectation. It's a misalignment. If you can align all these things in your life, the perception of suffering is greatly diminished. What you perceive is the way you will experience things. what you perceive, excuse me, is what you experience. Oops. You're not entering into a new chapter of your life. This is not a new chapter. You're rewriting an entire book. You're rewriting an entire book. This is the time to edit the things that need to be edited. If you allow yourself to recognize what needs to be shifted and why, being in compliance with your process will make it less painful for you. For those who are highly empathic, I mean, if you hurt being around people who are hurting, it's kind of unrealistic to make it your sole goal to not feel this process. Like, it's just not realistic. So you're going to have to kind of come to terms with how you might feel as you go through the things that you're going through. It's going to be okay. It's always okay. It's going to be okay. For those of you who don't know me very well, I don't like to lie to people. I'm actually very blunt, in case you haven't noticed. I'm blunt. And when I say it's going to be okay, I genuinely feel that. Because if I don't feel like it's going to be okay, I will tell you while I look you in the eyes. I will tell you it's not going to be okay. You're messing up. And this is the things that's causing you to mess up. And if you shift that perception, well, you'll stop messing up and it'll stop hurting so much. I feel like it's going to be okay. I feel like we all just kind of need to come to an acceptance of some degree about the things we need to experience. Right? So, part of this ascension process is unleashing the negatives onto this earth plane. Okay. So, if you guys don't know, I'm not a tarot card reader. My primary job, my day job, is morphogenetic recodement. I teach quantum chaotic sciences. And the thing here is that I'm very much aware that the organic portals have been activated. They were activated quite a few weeks ago. And so organic portals will be utilized to trigger you. They will be utilized to cut your abundance so that you can travel light. This abundance will be airshipped to wherever you're going. You don't have to worry about losing anything because you're not going to lose anything. What your soul is trying to do is get you to travel light. You don't need to be rejuvenated if you're healthy. If you take in the necessary nutrients and necessary liquids, you don't need to be rejuvenated. When you take care of yourself and maintain your health, mental health, emotional health, physical health, spiritual health, energetic health, whatever type of health you're wanting to maintain, you don't need rejuvenation because you're consistently maintaining it. There's nothing that needs to be done. Shadow work. Shadow work is not what you think. Shadow work is not a meditation. It is not how spiritual folks try and paint it out to be. Shadow work has everything to do with looking your traumas in the eyes and allowing that trauma to show you exactly where the power that trauma crippled is hidden away. Your trauma is the place marker to show you where your power was buried. So when your life brings trauma to the surface, You're being given the treasure map to find the treasure that lives inside you. Trauma is a placeholder that shows you where your power was buried. Your entire life, people have not given you permission to be exactly who you are as you are when you are. And whenever you don't get that permission, you seek from others to be who you are, how you are, where you are, when you are. Those parts of you that are rejected by the people who you are wanting and needing to accept that part, you hide that part of you in your shadow. You bury it. And so you'll never forget it. That trauma now exists. At some point in my life, I went through trauma to make me believe that no one would value what I have to say. At some point in my life, I went through the type of trauma that caused me to believe that if I expressed any form of intelligence, if I spoke organically in the vernacular that I am comfortable with, that people will look at me crazy. People will reject me. Even the way I speak right now is a modification of my natural vernacular. I speak in a more archaic manner, but everyone thinks it's weird. People do. I have a robust vocabulary. And people think it's weird. It makes them uncomfortable. I make a lot of people feel uncomfortable. And so I've learned to modify myself to the degree that I could better fit in, failing to realize the cost of that conformity is the gift of me. And so I will continue to be in a process of uncovering the gems that I buried. I didn't bury seeds. I buried treasure. Wrap your mind around that. You think you buried magic beans? You think you simply buried like sunflower seeds? You buried the jewels that once adorned your crown. Then you took your crown and you pretended it was something else. So now you have to unearth the jewels in order to properly adorn your crown. Because every single last one of us are being invited to return back to the throne within our throne room, inside our own personal sanctuaries. You want to be a sovereign? Act like it. Find the treasures that you buried to better fit in with a peanut gallery. For much of my life, I would have given anything to fit in. I would have ignored every single last one of my little quirks that makes me so unique. I would have pretended that I was a normal, average person with nothing wrong with me. And that was the saddest part. That part where I thought there was something wrong with me for being so different. If you're here to dismantle an entire matrix, not just one of the systems within the matrix, but the matrix itself, you cannot fit in any way, shape, or form. Well, I'm done fitting in. I'm done playing small. But don't get it twisted. I understand the gravity of my uniqueness is simply to facilitate my service to humanity. I'm not meant to be on a pedestal. I'm meant to help you find your own. It's time for you to be who you are. It's time for you to stop being afraid of hurting. Time for you to stop trying to impress the very people who don't have the capacity to comprehend the gravity of who and what you are. I tried to fit in with people who were afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid of what? For a while, I thought they were afraid of me. What they were afraid of was that they weren't enough in comparison to me. And that's when I understood. If I set the bar where it belongs, people will have to work to reach that bar for themselves. You know how much strength you develop in that struggle. I'm over here like, why are you trying to keep up? There's space for you. I held the seat for you. You belong beside me. You're my equal. I didn't realize that people don't think like I do. People exist in a space of compete and compare, while I'm over here comfortable in a co-creative space. Could you imagine me trying to play normal in a world that seeks to divide us through competition and comparison? Oh no. No. The reason my community on Facebook and YouTube is so powerful is because I expect them to be my equal. I don't ask them to be. I don't try and convince them to be. My expectation is that you are my equal and I expect you to behave as such. And they all know this. I remember that one time someone was just saying something. They were being so rude in the comments. And I think it was Kitty Claw. Someone was saying something about my followers, and she's like, we're not fucking followers. I was like, yes. Okay. Yeah, no, she's like, we're not fucking followers. We're equals here. Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. The only reason I would be given more ability than you is so that you could remember how much ability you've hidden away. Please stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Seriously. We're not here to compete. We're here to encourage and empower. And part of the ascension process is uncovering how much of a gift you actually are to yourself, to other people, to communities at large, to the globe at large, to the collective whole. Stop playing fucking small because I'm sick of waiting for you to catch up. Not catch up to me, but catch up to what your soul is asking you to be in this moment. We all have our proper place. Kitty Claw. We are not a cult either. It's fine. We could be a cult. Just don't expect me to be your leader or provide Kool-Aid because that's some bullshit. I'm saying if y'all want to, y'all can identify as whatever you want. I'm good off labels. I'm just saying we peoples. Receiving sigil, you know what's happening. You're not letting yourself receive the messages, receive the assistance, receive the shift in your perception. Stop it. Stop it. Where's my cards? Just stop it. Let yourself receive. There's nothing selfish about you receiving. There isn't. As someone who has struggled to receive for so long and still continues to struggle, like we need to stop. We need to stop with that. We need to allow the flow. When you don't allow the flow, when you continue to impede your ability to receive, you get real upside down and parasitic with yourself. For those that don't know what I mean by parasitic, that is my sterilized scientific expression for demon. Don't be a demon whore. Don't do it. Don't do it. So, this parasitic situation stems from an upside down past life returning back to you. A past life circumstance that you continue to push away. I don't know. I have to be careful about what I say here because this is a general reading and I need to be mindful of the effects of my words on people who will take what I say and be like, oh my God, she's talking about twin flames. Yo. I don't know. I'm going to leave that topic alone. It's this thing of like, what is your intention? What is your intention that you want and need a twin flame? Really, what is the intention there? What is your expectation? My expectation of a twin of any kind, twin flame, twin ray, whatever it is to like hold a space so profound that we can dance together naked. No, not naked. I'm skittish. Stop. No, I'm saying like my expectation of a twin flame and a twin ray is to be such a profound friend and mirror. And that's it. That's it. That's my only expectation. So if your expectation is something beyond that, I'm just gonna let you have your expectation. I got nothing to say. I ain't got nothing to say. Yep. If I keep talking on that topic, I'm gonna get real aggressive. Cause yep, nope. Nope, don't do it. Don't just nope. Nope. Hold it in. Hold it in. Hold it in and fart it out. There. Good. Okay, card number 21, growth. That's growth. See, I'm growing. I'm growing. I didn't have to talk shit. I mean, I don't have a problem with twin flames and twin rays. I have a problem with the bullshit that people Don't do it, girl. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Return back to your space of center. Just be centered. Be centered. Okay. All right. Final card, and then I gotta go because I'm over it. Final card, and I gotta go because I'm over it. Okay. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. And let's. Ooh, I like this. Card number 2. Card number 2. Michael, just. Okay, card number 2. Card number 2. Passion for purpose. Excuse me. Love, like life, flows through the heart. Feel the thrill of the flow and say nothing. Do you yearn to find your way, to fulfill your divine destiny, to know the purpose for your presence within the sacred body of the Earth Mother? Your heart is questing for deeper meaning. It desires certainty as to your sacred task for this lifetime. Your heart wants to know why you were born, for what purpose. You must know that the answer to these questions is love. I bring you your answer straight from the heart of the universe. Be wild within your passion. Do that which stirs your soul, even when it makes you uncomfortable, especially then. For what's being truly alive if not a decision to be open instead of resistant, to be wild rather than comfortable, so that at any moment we will be ready for the invitation of the divine beloved to come closer. I call to you now, the you that is beyond your mind, the you that the heart knows, the you that cannot deny life. To that you, I ask this question: what stirs the passions of your nature? Do that. Be that. As we grow on the spiritual path, so too does our ability to serve life, to serve love, to honor humanity, and to offer a contribution that is unique to us, that could only flow in this particular way through the quality of our own soul light. Every light holds its own beauty, and every light has a particular task to fulfill on the divine path of life. To help us remember this, lest we get too easily distracted by the pain and stress that happens in life, we were given an inbuilt reminder. That reminder is our passion. We may think that passion is not particularly practical. We may feel fearful that with passion there are no guarantees of success, or that we may even be throwing away a stable and secure life to pursue our passion. These are the fears of many a modern society, yet they are so misplaced. Life supports all beings based on their true nature. Let me say that again. Life supports all beings based on their true nature. Your life is correcting the misalignments that are in your space right now. Your life is getting rid of all of these kinks that you have. All of these, like, squished up areas that need to be straightened out. Your perception of yourself, your purpose, your life, and who belongs in it. It's very skewed. It's very skewed. Maybe you're existing in some type of obligatory state. Maybe you have traumas that haven't been addressed and still express themselves through the need to please others. I get it. I was there for a very long time. I get it. Life supports all beings based on their true nature. The birds are given air in which to fly, and fish are given water in which to swim. Plants are given light of the open plains or darkness of the damp rainforest, depending on their needs for growth. Different flowers flourish in different environments. So here's the thing. I heard this somewhere once. I don't remember where anymore. When the flower doesn't thrive in the place that you've placed it, you don't blame the flower. You figure out what's wrong, what's lacking, and you correct the environment of the flower. If it's the wrong soil, you amend the soil and place it where it belongs. If it's the wrong type of liquid, if it's the wrong type of food, if it's the wrong amount of sunlight, the wrong temperature, you don't blame the flower for not thriving. You find out what the flower needs and you give it to the flower. What is it in your environment that's affecting your ability to thrive? What is it? Who is it? Where is it? How is it? Have you asked yourself those questions? More importantly, after asking those questions, have you paused to receive your answers? Bees have wings that are very small but powerful enough to move with such speed and rotation that their heavy bodies can fly. Each aspect of creation is given what is required, so it may become what it is meant to be, for its unique destiny to be fulfilled. You're being given everything you need. OCD is not a disease. I have OCD and ADHD. OCD, ADHD, these are not diseases. These are conditions that become so imbalanced that they affect the quality of your life. Then it becomes a pathology, a disease. But we all have varying degrees of OCD, varying degrees of ADHD, varying degrees of even narcissism. Are you aware that the self-love journey is a narcissistic journey? Balanced narcissism. It's a narcissistic tendency. Now, when it gets too imbalanced, then yeah, that's a disease. I don't like narcissists. I don't. If you're a narcissist, I don't like you. I hurt your feelings. I don't care. You hurt a lot of people. I'm serious. If you're a narcissist, I will rip you a new asshole if you give me the opportunity to. I am not one you want to engage. I'll make you cry in ways no one else has. I can read all your insecurities. Hmm. I don't like narcissists. Okay. So it is with humanity. Each one of us has something in our hearts that means something to us. It is irrelevant whether it seems practical or a recipe for success or not. We are simply meant to be what we are, to serve life faithfully from a place of honoring the truth of our nature, that which we genuinely feel passionate about, and to allow for life to naturally support growth according to our genuine nature, right? Where we get into difficulty is not in bringing our genuine passions to life, for life supports this, but in learning to let go of attachment as to how that happens. Are you looking for love? Are you guys looking for love? Is that the thing? Like, you are looking for a lifelong, lasting, loving connection, and you haven't been able to find that. And because you haven't been able to find that, you are now convinced that that's what you deserve, the absence of the very thing you need to thrive. Maybe you can't find it because you're so buckled in to all of this baggage that's unnecessary. Why do we carry all of that with us? You have an entire spiritual shelf that you could use to compartmentalize all of that. No, compartmentalization is not a pathology. It's not something bad. It's something that can help you to organize your thoughts for when you're ready to sift through each drawer. See, compartmentalization becomes a bad thing when you keep shoving things into drawers, and next thing you know, your entire temple is full of junk drawers. You got to at least at some point go through the drawers and see what can be tossed out and what needs to be placed on a shelf for display and what needs to be folded and what needs to this and what needs to that. All of these things that society tells us is so bad, and pathology, signs of weakness and illness. And no, it's not. When it affects the quality of your life, then yes, it becomes a pathology. But no, there is nothing wrong with the tendencies that you have, so long as you can harness those tendencies in such a way that can empower your journey, empower you on that journey. So again, ADHD, right? People's like, oh my God, you should be medicated and this, that. Fuck you. Mind your own business. Right. I've had people tell me, like, you really should consider medication. No, you should consider some Vagisil. That's stink cooter energy. I'm saying, if you want to discuss shit like that, let's go ahead. But here's the thing, what people fail to realize is, yeah, my brain is scattered, but I'm thinking on a multidimensional level. In my ADHD-ness, I'm considering multiple angles of resolution for a singular issue. Not to mention the way ADHD gives you the capacity to hyperfixate. Do you know what happens when I hyperfixate? Badass shit happens. Just don't talk to me because you'll fuck up the whole process. Badass shit happens. Massive change happens. Profound growth occurs. People think like, oh, people who have dyslexia are crippled somehow and it's a disability and this and that. Yeah, but could you rotate a 3D image in your mind accurately? Can you do spatial reasoning to the degree of someone with dyslexia? Because as someone who has dyslexia, it's a pretty badass thing. I can make things fit in ways people cannot. You see, you let people convince you that your superpowers are the diseases that make you weak. I don't think so. I don't think so. There is nothing weak about me. Why? Well, because I can harness every part of my disabilities, um, and be bad as fuck. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, but Emmy, when you have ADHD, you can't finish anything. Oh, yes, I can. If it interests me. Don't bore me if you want me to finish it. If you talk too much. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. However, if what you talk about fascinates me, keep talking. Absolutely. Keep talking. I want to know more. I want to hear more. I can listen to it for hours on end. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. You're listening to the very people who are trying to convince you that they're an authority over you. Why? Because they went and got indoctrinated for X amount of years? You live with yourself since the moment you were created. You know yourself. The problem is not that you are sick. The problem is that you refuse to intimately know who you are and how to work those parts of you. This ascension cycle is going to force you to look at things. It's going to force you to. It's going to be okay. You'll be fine. I mean, it might hurt a little or a lottle, but you'll be fine. You'll survive. What I forget his name. He said, "But did you die?" No, you didn't. So calm down. You're going to be fine. Where we get into difficulty is not in bringing our genuine passions to life, for life supports this, but in learning to let go of attachment as to how that happens. Also, attachment to other people. We can struggle to free ourselves of the expectation we have to be something we are not. Yeah. Did you know that your identity as it is right now, unless you're one of like the 0.05%, your identity is a combination of everyone's expectation of you. Every single person you've come across in your life has expected you to be a specific character, right? So, you play the role, and so all of a sudden your identity is this modge podge of characters that people have expected you to play. I'm not a fucking actress. I had to tell myself that one time, I was like, oh my God, so and so is going to be so upset and blah, blah. And then I was like, girl, you are not a fucking actress. And I was like, I know, right? Well, you're going to have to take it or leave it. This is who I am. What did I just? The divine path of love asks us to become conscious of and then unlearn the play acting of attempting to be a false self so that we may learn to simply love and accept our real self. We may even have a struggle on our hands to remember who our real self actually is for a time. I tell you, I could tell you exactly who you are, but you're probably not going to want to hear what I have to say. Most people will struggle with the things that come out of my mouth about them, because cognitive dissonance is a cheap hoe. Seriously, cognitive dissonance is one hell of a. We must learn to be brave, even in the sweetness of that journey back to the real self. We must dare to believe that we are not broken, that we are not inadequate, or better off to be like some other person or some other person's view of how they think we should be. We must be brave enough to not believe in the layers of guilt and shame. We must be bold enough to not fear our passion. As we dive deep within and explore what really makes us tick, what makes us feel alive, we must be open, curious, and non judgmental. I would like to make a correction there. We must be open, curious, and non judgmental. We absolutely need to work on this whole judgmental bullshit. You need to use judgment. Judgment is a component of discernment. The reason people fuck you over so much is because you choose to gaslight yourself into believing what you picked up about them and their energy. And don't tell me you can't read people, because I promise you, if you couldn't read people, you would not resonate with me. I promise you that. I promise you that. I promise you that. You would not be resonating with me. You have to stop gaslighting yourself into believing that you don't read people, because you absolutely do. If you couldn't read people, you would have left this live stream a long time ago, because you'd be like, this girl is fucking crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm messianic. I'm joking. I'm not a messiah. It was snarky, whatever. But I'm saying, seriously, you can read people. So, like, be honest with yourself about what you get off of people. There has never been a person that I've gotten a bad vibe from that wasn't a bad person. It's true. There is not a single person who my soul has told me, this hoe is going to fuck you over, that didn't try and fuck me over. Not even joking. You cannot love someone. Oh, thank you. You cannot love someone into a space of wholeness when they choose to identify as a black hole. You can't. You cannot love someone enough to be what you want them to be. Hey, Queso. It's my homegirl, Queso. She's a cheese. Michelle. So remember how I used to be like, hi, thank you. Remember when I used to totally be into pirates and stuff and like, oh my gosh, I went through a session of EMDR. It turns out that I was once a pirate in a previous life. I'm not joking. So I was once a pirate in a previous life. That shit came out in my session. And now I don't identify as a pirate anymore. I'm able to let that go. I was so shocked because I never knew. Yes, those fuckers, mutinous bastards, locked me in the galleys. I'm saying they locked me away. For what? For what? Fucking mutiny. They did. Because I sent them, I forced us to sail towards the storm. And the whole crew was like, just bitch. They locked me under the ship. I almost drowned. I almost died. And that's why I'm like, arr. Now I'm like, no, we're not pirates anymore. EMDR therapy works, you guys. I wasn't expecting that either. You know what I mean? I was not expecting that. That was fascinating. That passionate purpose may at first be barely recognizable amongst all the should, cannot, or must do of our lives. As we stay true to the path, however, that light will become unmistakably clear. Our passion will reveal itself to us as essential as our health, or as our breath. Like morning, not morning breath. We would feel as though we are not alive without it. How could we have missed it all those years? Perhaps all those lifetimes. Ooh, our passion will reveal itself to us as essential as our breath. You know, I came to the realization that breath is nothing more than the precursor to communication, because the exhale is how we form spoken word. When you communicate, you exhale the toxicity that you've compartmentalized within your body. Are you constantly sick? If you're constantly sick, if you have suppressed immune function, if you consistently have all of these different symptoms, body aches, body pain, fascia issues, fibromyalgia, these are symptoms of the ways in which you deny who you are. The ways in which you allow that breath to continue to remain inside you. How do you find out about your past life? I do past life sessions. You can find it on my website, meevolving.com. I'd be careful though. Past lives are intense. There are two forms of Akashic halts. One is a personal one and the other is collective. Depending on which one you access, that will give you a very, very clear understanding of the types of lives that you lived. The thing about past lives is it's very romanticized in spiritual communities, and everyone wants to hear that they were some historical figure, and then next thing you know, at some point you find out you were fucking Vlad the Impaler. And then you realize why you keep saying, like, shove it up your ass, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm a bad person. And it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You guys have to understand that when you go poking around looking for your previous lives' memories, human history is rife with brutality. It is full of graphic violence and brutality. Don't look for the details if you can't handle what's going to be found. Just be careful. It's a lot. It's a lot. I sometimes do expedites where I read people's past lives for them, and I do it during live streams. And y'all on YouTube, you know it. It's intense. It's intense because I am not someone who will sugarcoat it. Like, when I retrieve someone's past life, I'm actually in that vessel with you, experiencing that event with you. So if in that past life you're a prisoner of war, and I feel what they're doing to you, it's traumatic sometimes. Do you ever see entities? All the time. All the time. Which brings me back to this energy update. Ascension is speeding up. Quite a few galactic lineages, they have been given the green light to enter into this realm, and it is about to get crunk. It is. It's about to get very real for a lot of people. We're being prepared as a collective whole to hike it up to 6D. So with the 6D, a lot of that has to do with third eye visuals, right? And when you start seeing things, it's a little dicey, but we need to do that because of the fact that, okay, let me rewind this. So right now we're anchored in the 5th dimension. Whatever dimension you're anchored in, you experience everything beneath you. You're not aware of where you're at. You're aware of what's beneath you. And with that, if we get bumped up to 6D, which that's what this process is about, bumping us up to 6D, that's so that we can be aware of the compassion that exists in that 5th dimensional, space. Oh, that's so pretty. So that's what we're going through. It's going to take a whole lot of trauma-induced accretion. Trauma-induced accretion, I don't know if you'll find a definition online. I coined the phrase. That's when trauma is utilized to accrete frequency, to take in, to surge frequency, and that frequency surge will dilate all of your energetic pathways, meridians, chakras, secondary, tertiary chakras, all of that. It will dilate it all, flood it with frequency. And when it does that, it then will begin to slowly give you access to the pathways that lead to the gifts that you thought went dormant. It didn't go dormant. It's like an adrenaline rush, energetic terms, frequency based adrenaline rush, etheric rush. That's what it is. So with the trauma induced secretion, that fight or flight process is activated. And, it's going to be very interesting. I don't understand that much, so I don't think I'm ready. That's okay. Eventually, you will be. Your curiosity will lead you to the places that will get you the information that will prepare you to receive your memories. I don't feel like a single person will do that for you. I feel like multiple sources, multiple people, multiple types of content um, will be giving you like fragments of information that will prepare you, but you'll still be tasked, responsible for putting those fragments together to be able to form the looking glass that you'll use to see those lifetimes. Um, let's see. Been seeing specks of light around like sparkles. Yep, you're probably reaching the upper portions of that 5D, starting to enter into that starting to enter into that 6D frequency. And so you're going to start tapping into a lot more abilities. I actually teach workshops. So, sorry. Sometimes I just read comments and I'm like, um, I teach workshops that help people learn how to access their abilities. I don't teach Reiki. I came into this life knowing how to work an energetic system that no one taught me. I just somehow know. And so I teach people how to access those abilities. All of us have varying degrees of abilities. Not all of your abilities are active when you enter into a lifetime. Some abilities are active only for specific lifetimes. So when you book a past life session with me, past life retrieval and soul convergence, that's the name of the session on my website. When you book that with me, whatever lifetimes your higher self shows during that session, I go ahead and I harvest the coding for you and I activate that and give you access to it. So, say in this life, you don't have the ability to hear frequency, and in one of the lifetimes your higher self shares, you do. You're going to be able to get that ability back. It's not going to be super easy. You're going to have to work on that self confidence and allowing that ability to be experienced by your human consciousness, but you'll have that ability back. Thoughts on fasting? It's good for you. What about premonitions? Those are precognitive hits. What do you want to know about premonitions? Do we always come back? Some people do because they need to clear out their karmic ledger board. Other people do because of the type of soul that they have. Like for me, I incarnate quite often simply because I come from a soul group that is it's a cloister. And so with that cloister, we work together very closely. So many lifetimes we all incarnate together, this very small cloister of souls. So it just depends. It's very rare for someone to not have had like tons of lifetimes to date, and um I've had thousands of clients at this point, right? To date, only one person has had 2 lifetimes. Everyone else has had a shit ton of lifetimes. One person had 2 lifetimes, and um, in this lifetime, they came back because they wanted to experience basically like human disease. They had a lot of physiological struggles, a lot. And it was beautiful because when I worked on them during a live stream, Like the entire room was just filled with angelic beings. It was so beautiful. So, so beautiful. Um, Y'all, people being weird as fuck for real. I I gotta go. I'm considering being naughty. I gotta go. You guys, this was a fun chat. If you're watching me on TikTok, go ahead and find me on YouTube and Facebook. My name is Emmy Evolving across all platforms. I do quite a bit of different types of work, quite a bit. And I teach quantum chaotic sciences. I help neurodivergence and quantum neurodivergence realize their full potential. You can find my services on emmyevolving.com. For those who are on YouTube and Facebook, y'all, I will see you tomorrow. I think I'm gonna have a crystal auction tomorrow. Don't nobody say nothing about my crystals. I know. I told you guys I would have an auction quite a while ago. And I will. I'm thinking tomorrow I'll have a crystal auction. I'm not going to be on TikTok. I will be on Facebook, YouTube, and Venmo. No Vimeo. I don't, yo. Is it Venmo or is it Vimeo? Because I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, just find me. I'm primarily on YouTube. Emmy Evolving. I'll see you guys. I'll see everyone. Hey, Nikki. How are you? Okay, I'm gonna go for real because I'm having intrusive thoughts. I'm considering being rude, and that's not necessary. So I gotta go. I gotta go ahead and I gotta go to sleep is probably what it is. I love you guys. I'm getting to know you guys. I love you guys. I can't tell you I love you if I don't know you. I gotta get comfortable. I do. I don't want to lie to you. But y'all, I love y'all. I know y'all. I love y'all. Uh Bye everyone. Give this video a thumbs up. I don't know what you should do on TikTok. Whatever you guys do. You do that. All of you, give me a thumb, give me a heart, share it out, whatever you got to do, subscribe, follow, and let's do it again. I promise I'll try and be more self contained in future live streams. Someone started me off at the very start of this live stream, so the attitude carried all the way through. Don't worry, you'll learn to love it. Love you guys. Bye.